Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. We will get started in just a few seconds. I'm just going to get ourselves set up so that we got a good view of everything. Hope everyone's having a great Monday so far, and I'm so glad you guys are here. 5:30 Monday evening. Very nice to see everybody. I'm Rachel Peters. For anyone who doesn't know me, physical therapist at Agile headquarters in Palo Alto, and welcome to Pilates mat work. So we're going to go ahead and start on our mats. That mat's going to be oriented horizontally facing your screen so that you can see what I'm doing. And if I need to demonstrate anything specific that I don't think you've seen before, or that might just give you a little bit better idea of an alignment, I'll be able to turn so you can see what I'm doing. So you might want for later on in the class to have a small rolled towel and or a little sofa cushion if you want to use that to sit on or give your knees a little bit more padding during various other parts of the class. So we'll go ahead and get started here. We're going to bring our feet shoulder width apart, toes pointed slightly out to the side. Let's roll our shoulders back a couple of times just to get loosened up for what we're doing. We'll drop those shoulders down and back. Let's take a big breath in, bringing those arms up overhead. We're going to clasp the palms, reach them up to the ceiling, and drop those blades back down to the floor. And we'll take a couple of tall side bends. Inhaling up to the ceiling and exhaling, reaching those palms toward the corner of the room. Breathe in up to the top. Exhale over to the other side. Let's take it one more time to each, focusing on keeping that rib cage lifted up off of your pelvis as best you can to allow you to get a stretch on that side you're moving away from, but also to keep that core supporting you as you move the other way. We'll take those hands up to the ceiling, bring those arms down by the sides, and now we're going to line our feet up with our hips. Once they're there, let's try to get those toes pointing straight forward, and we're going to shift our weight. We'll take our weight toward our toes and back toward our heels. Hands go right to the midsection. If you press into that midsection, you'll be able to feel some muscles moving a bit as you shift forward and back, and find your base of support, find the range that you can move through without feeling like you're going to topple over or have to lift your heels up or your toes up, depending on what direction you're going. We'll shift forward and back another time. Now we're going to take our weight right over the front of those ankle joints. That's going to be our base of support. Center of mass from the head, the breastbone, the pelvis, and those knees goes right in line with the front of those ankle joints. Hands are going to come to the waistline, fingertips in front, thumb in back, and we're going to shift the weight from foot to foot. Feel that little movement between your fingers. You'll feel some muscles tighten up on their own even. Good. If you bend your knees slightly, just softening them a little bit and shift side to side, you'll feel it as well. You might feel those hips starting to get into the motion as well. We'll straighten out those knees a bit. Now we're going to make some circles around our base of support. And the big goal here is to try to keep that body moving as one unit. So trunk and legs are moving together. Let's circle the other way. And the second goal is to try to keep your entire foot on the floor throughout the movement. Try not to let those toes lift up or those heels lift up. Let's take our weight right over the front of the ankle joints again. We're going to shift all the way forward toward the toes, just in front of the ball of the foot. And we're going to let those heels hover up off the mat. Hold them there, feeling your toes wiggle into the floor. Keeping the weight forward, we're going to lift up onto our toes. Take it up and down. Let's go a few times mid-range, keeping the weight over the ball of the foot. And now we're going to shift as far forward as we can, taking those heels up as high as we can. We're going to hold them there. And from there, let's shoot those arms up to the ceiling. And as your fingertips come up, your shoulder blades are going to drop down to the floor. Shoulder blades are going to help anchor you down to the mat. Let's take a big breath in here. Keeping the weight forward toward the toes, we're going to slowly exhale and bring those heels back down to the mat. Feel those calves working to control that motion. We'll bring those arms down, taking your base of support right over the front of those ankles again. Let's shake your knees out a little bit. We're going to prepare to move to the floor. So we'll come to the back edge of your mat, facing sideways. And we're going to soften up those knees a little bit. They're going to be somewhere between hip and shoulder width apart. Keeping your knees the same angle they're at now, we're going to take the hands right to the fold in the hip and moving the trunk and head as one unit. We're going to tip forward. We're moving toward a flat back position here. Okay. You want to pause when you start to feel a stretch behind your thighs. Okay. From the knee to that sit bone right there. We're going to hold that position. You might be here in a flat back. You might be up at a 45-degree angle. You find the motion that's working for you. We're gonna hold that there. And now we're gonna wiggle our knees a little bit. Soften, taking some slack back into the system. And then we're gonna send our tailbones toward the ceiling, or at least toward where the wall and ceiling meet behind you, deepening that stretch a little bit. Bend and straighten. The goal here is to keep that trunk as still as you can, so your back stays nice and still. If you had something balanced on it, it wouldn't move as those knees move. We're gonna find that straightest point that we can get those legs to, keeping that back position, and we'll take an inhale. On the exhale, we're gonna take our arms down to the mat. Let them hang vertically. We're gonna do a little rowing here. We may wanna bend the knees a little bit more. We're gonna squeeze those blades together behind the back. Exhale, reach them down to the floor. Inhale, squeeze. Feel free to look straight down towards your mat. Keep that head nice and neutral. Squeeze, relax. One more time, squeeze, draw those elbows back. And we're gonna hold them there. We're gonna shoot that arm closest to the screen out in front of you and take that opposite arm back behind you. We're gonna look over the shoulder of the arm that's farthest from your screen. And let's go ahead and switch. We're gonna move through at your own pace. Feel free to play around with where your weight is to make sure that your body's staying relatively comfortable as we move those arms. We're gonna bring our head back to neutral, both arms down by the sides. We'll take a big breath in. And on that exhale, we're gonna bring our hands to the floor. You're welcome to keep your back straight and bend your knees. You're also welcome to keep that belly pulled in and forward fold if that feels good for you. From here, we're gonna walk our way down toward an inverted V. Much like a down dog in yoga, we're gonna line up our elbows and ears. And those knees could be a little bit bent if we need you to keep that back nice and still. We're gonna pedal the feet out, dropping a heel and then the other heel. Try to keep your hands spread out wide, heels of the hands pressing into the mat to give you a little more stability. We're gonna drop that second heel down to the mat, take a big breath in. With that belly pulled in toward the spine, we're gonna come forward to plank on the knees, or to hands and knees, whatever's working best for you. And from that position, keeping that belly drawn in, we're gonna shift our weight from side to side, hand to hand, pressing the floor away with the heels of the hand as you move. Again, your goal would be to keep that belly pulled in, to keep that back nice and still as we move. We're gonna come right back to plank on the knees, or straight up hands and knees. And we're gonna move through a few cats and cows, curling and reversing that curve, sending the breastbone toward the wall in front of you. Find a range that's working for you. One more time, curl, reverse it. We'll come right back to neutral, and we're gonna wag that tail side to side. Send a hip to a shoulder, and the other hip to the other shoulder, just a couple of times. We're gonna take ourselves right back to the middle. The feet come together, the knees come apart. We're gonna lower the bottom down toward the heels. And then walk your hands forward toward the front of the mat. Let's drop that forehead toward the floor, keeping in mind that if your knees or your shoulders aren't liking moving through that full range, you find a range that's working for you. We'll take a big breath in. Exhaling, we're gonna drop those armpits and shoulder blades to the floor. Once you're there, farthest way through the position that you can feel a good stretch in, we're gonna drop the forearms to the mat. Elbows are bending. We'll shift the weight forward. Take the legs back behind the body with that belly drawn up. We're resting on those upper thighs. And from here, we're gonna keep that chin nodded gently towards your neck. We're gonna squeeze the shoulder blades behind the back. Press them forward toward the floor. Warming them up with a little shoulder blade push-up. Squeeze, press and hold, and we're gonna shift our weight forearm to forearm from here. We have a little curve in the back, but we want the majority of that curve to be right through the upper back here. We'll revisit this later on in the session. We're gonna take it right back to the middle, big breath in. Exhaling, we'll bring the upper body down to the mat. We're gonna roll to our backs. We're gonna bend at the knees, lining our heels up with the hips. Arms are gonna rest down by our sides. And let's take a big breath in, nodding the chin toward the neck on your exhale. We're gonna feel the back of the neck gently lengthen toward the mat, and we're gonna try to hold that position as we continue. We're gonna move through our pelvic clock. We're gonna picture our clock face on that midsection. 12 o'clock's toward the breastbone. We're going to tilt the pelvis, flattening the back a bit, bringing that pubic bone toward 12 o'clock. And then we're going to reverse that direction, moving towards 6 o'clock, letting that tailbone drop toward the floor. Let's move back and forth between those two positions. Shortening that range up enough that your chin can stay nice and still. We'll come back and forth 12 to 6 a few more times. And we'll bring ourselves right back to the middle again. Maybe there's a little curve in your back. We're going to respect that curve if it's there. Take an inhale. And now as we exhale, we're going to draw the belly down gently, tightening a little seatbelt of muscles between your belly button and your pubic bone. Keeping those muscles a little active, we're going to move our pelvis from 3 o'clock, taking one hip down toward the floor and slightly lifting that other cheek off the mat. And then we're going to roll to 9 o'clock the other direction. Let's go ahead and alternate side to side, 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. If you need help with the direction of movement, let your knees go side to side to establish that direction. And then we're going to try to keep the knees still as the pelvis moves. 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. One more time to each. We'll take it right back to the middle, and with that seatbelt of muscles still active right between your navel and your pubic bone, we're going to nod the chin a little closer to your neck. We're going to maintain that stability, that still position through the lower body. We're going to lift the head up off the mat. Lower the head, release that nod. Nod and lift, lower and release. Let's keep that pattern going. If you'd like to have your hands on your pelvis and your belly to monitor, you're welcome to do so. Nod and lift, lower and release. You're also welcome to maintain that nod without lifting the head. We're still working the muscles in the front of the throat that help keep that 10 to 14 pound bowling ball balanced where it should be. Last time, nod and lift, lower and release. Let's go ahead and bring our arms down. We'll look side to side a little bit, a couple times to each. Taking it right back to the middle, we'll re-nod that chin just a little. With that belly drawn down, we bring one knee up to 90 degrees, and we're going to bring the other one up to meet it in tabletop, like you could balance something on those shins. From here, we're going to take the hands to the front of the thighs. Your knees and feet could be together, or they could be slightly apart at hip width. We're going to build pressure between your hands and your thighs, just until you feel some muscles working from the lowest ribs all the way down to that pubic bone. The navel's still drawn down if you can. Maybe we lift the head, maybe we keep it down and nodded. We're going to wiggle a little bit. We'll straighten and bend the knees, maintaining that stable trunk, maintaining that same vertical thigh position as we go. We're going to lift and hold the legs right before that first barrier, right before it would be too much to try to straighten any further. We're going to bring the head down and maintain that leg position. Drawing that belly down, whether your knees are bent or straight. We're going to take our hands and hover them up off the floor, stretching them toward the wall in front of you until you feel a little work through those underarm muscles. We're going to pat the hands up and down like we're dribbling little tiny basketballs really quickly. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, exhale. Keep it going. You're welcome to lift your upper body. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep the pattern going with the arms. Progressions would be to extend the legs toward the wall in front of you, far as you can, keeping that belly drawn down. If you need a step back, those legs can come a little closer to the ceiling. They could be bent. We could even have a kickstand and the head down. Lots of options. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Flip those palms up, press the air to the ceiling, breathe it in, 2, 3, 4, 5, and out. Breathe it in, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. Last set, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's go ahead and bend your knees to tabletop if they've been straight. Lower the upper body down if it's been up. We're going to keep that belly drawn down. Take the hands right back to your thighs. Press your shoulders down. Gently press the hands and thighs toward each other. Again, focusing on feeling that lower abdominal activation there with the belly drawn down. We're going to take both hands to that leg that's farthest from your screen. Press both knees into your hands, nice and gently. Keeping them nice and still. We're going to take that opposite leg into a dead bug progression. We're going to take one toe down to the floor with a bent knee. We'll lift it back up. Keep that going on the same side. You're welcome to challenge it further by, instead of pressing the foot straight down, we could straighten it out toward the wall in front of you and take it back up. We have 3 more. Here's 3, and up. Here's 2. Remember, you can keep that knee bent. The last one, press it out, pull it back up to tabletop. We're going to switch our hands. We're going to take our hands to that near leg. Draw that pressure from your hands to your thighs and your thighs to your hands. And we'll do a couple of progressions. We'll do bent leg for 2, down and up. And if you're ready to progress it, stretch it out. Exhale, inhale back up. Press, inhale to tabletop. Last time, press it there, hold it there. And we're gonna lower that straight leg all the way down to the mat. Pull that bent knee into your chest. Let's hold it there. And we can gently rock it across the body, getting into a little bit of those hip rotator muscles. Give your belly a break. We're gonna pull it back to the middle, and then holding onto that shin, we can curl the upper body up or leave it down. With the belly drawn down, we lift that straight leg up off the floor just a few inches, and we're gonna circle it. We'll make some little circles on the wall in front of you, clockwise, counterclockwise, reverse, whatever you've been doing. We'll take a few the other direction. We'll take it straight ahead, and now we're gonna take that straight leg and move it side to side, drawing a line on the wall in front of you. Keep that pattern going with the trunk as still as you can keep it. We'll stretch that leg forward, lower that foot to the floor. We peel the upper body back down if it's been up, and then we're gonna hold on behind that thigh and stretch your leg up to get into the hamstring. Again, you go to whatever knee position feels like it gives you the most effective lengthening through that thigh. Maybe it's straight, maybe it's bent, maybe your leg goes all the way back to your nose. We could flex and point a bit if you have more slack to take out of your system. And then pointing those toes to the ceiling will reset those lower abdominals. We're gonna lift that leg up off the floor just a couple inches and lower it down. Let's try that a few times, holding onto that leg that's stretching up toward the ceiling. Good, last one, we'll anchor that foot into the floor again, keeping that leg up to the ceiling. We'll take the arms up to the ceiling as well. And then let's arc those arms back toward the wall behind you and up and forward toward the floor in front of you. Keep in mind that knee could be at tabletop, it could be part way up, or it could be all the way straight toward the ceiling. We're arcing the arms, keeping the rest of the body as still as possible. We're gonna pause with those arms up by the ceiling, and now we'll move that leg that's reaching up to the ceiling side to side. Find the range you can move it through, controlling your trunk, so that body stays as still, facing the ceiling as best you can. Maybe those arms come back for more of a challenge. Maybe we have them by the side for a little more support. Up to you. Feel free to challenge it a bit more. Take it 1 more inch one direction, maybe another inch the other direction. And now back up to the ceiling. Find a hand position that's working, and we'll circle that leg that's facing the ceiling. We could take those arms back a little bit. We could lift that bottom leg up off the floor, regardless of whether your hands are up to the ceiling, overhead, or down by your sides. That'll challenge those a little more. We'll circle the other direction. Maybe play around with a different arm position. Let's do 1 more circle here. That leg comes to the ceiling. We're gonna hold on behind that thigh. Hold it there. Nodding your chin. Maybe we lift the head up or we leave it down. We're gonna pull that knee into the chest. We'll switch the legs. Opposite knee pulls in. Leg closest to your screen comes down. Let's roll the upper body down, and we'll pull that leg across the body, getting into those hip rotators. Let the belly relax for a minute. We'll pull it back to the center and holding on in front of that shin, we'll draw the belly down. Maybe we roll the upper body up a little bit. We lift that heel up off the floor, and let's make some circles. Control that trunk, keep it as still as you can while that leg moves. And let's circle the other way. You could kick this up a notch by taking your hands down by your sides, pressing the backs of the hands. We'll bring that leg and stretch it forward again. Take it side to side. You can reconsider that hand position, down to the floor or to the shin. That leg comes side to side again. We'll hold it there. Let's roll the upper body down. Take the leg down to the floor. And we'll reverse our grip. Hold on behind that thigh and stretch that other leg up toward the ceiling. Find your range. Feel free to wiggle that knee a bit. Wiggle that ankle a little bit. Notice any asymmetries that exist. They probably exist. It's pretty normal to have one side that's a little more mobile than the other. All right, we're gonna point those toes toward the ceiling, and with that belly drawn down, we're gonna lift the other foot up and down, controlling with those lower abs. You wanna pretend that your abs are lifting that foot. That leg is a pretty good weight for them. We'll lift it up, take it down one more time. Arms come to the ceiling, and we're gonna take those arms back and forth, arcing them, keeping the rest of the body nice and still. Keep it going. Find a breathing pattern that's working for you. The main thing here is to remember not to hold your breath. Good. You could progress this one by lifting that foot up off the floor a bit. We'll take those arms to the ceiling, and let's take that leg that's reaching up to the ceiling side to side. That other foot could be hovered off the floor. It could be anchored to the floor. It could be bent if you need a little kickstand to keep that pelvis and back happy. Let's make some circles. Maybe we vary those arm positions a bit. And the other way. Let's do one more circle here. Take those arms to the ceiling. If they've been elsewhere, we'll go ahead and hold on behind that thigh again. We're gonna keep that other foot. We're gonna lift it up off the floor if it's not already there. Drawing those shoulders back and down. We can float the head up off the floor if that's comfortable. Otherwise, it stays down with the chin nodded toward the neck. We'll move through a single straight leg stretch here. One leg comes up, we switch our grip, lowering the other foot to the floor. Let's keep that going. Good. We could add a little pulse at the top. Keep it moving. We could progress the challenge to the core by taking the hands by the sides again, palms facing the ceiling. Let's do one more here. We're gonna pull both knees in, hug them into your chest, bring the upper body down if it's been up, and let's rock everything side to side. Grab onto your kneecaps, move those hips in circles a little bit. Take those knees back to the middle. Maybe we piston them back and forth a little. Let those muscles go. And then coming right back up to that tabletop position, we'll draw the belly down, hands to the floor. Maybe we take those legs and straighten them up as best we can toward the ceiling. Again, that might be here, that might be here. It's up to you. We're gonna hold here, and we're gonna let both legs come side to side. Draw a horizontal line on the ceiling with both legs moving together. The main thing you wanna keep still here is that those shoulder blades are gonna stay on the floor, and your rib cage is gonna stay on the floor. We're moving from the belly button down. We can challenge it by lifting those hands up off the floor a bit, by taking them up to the ceiling, maybe by taking them back overhead a bit. Play around with it. You can also modify that range of the legs you're moving through as you need to. Let's make some circles with those legs moving together. Again, feel free to play around with different hand positions. We'll pause those legs at the top, and let's circle them the other way. Here's 3. Here's 2. Here's 1. Take them back to the center. Hands are going to come down. We'll press those blades into the floor, and we're going to move the legs in opposite directions of each other. Circles on the ceiling. They can be as big or as small as you need to keep that pelvis as still as possible. We're going to switch directions. We'll take them the other way. If your knees are bent, it's going to almost feel like a little breaststroke kick. Last one. We'll pause with those legs to the ceiling. We're going to turn our knees away and flex our feet. So the feet are going to make a little V. It's like a ballet first position. Hold them there. Let's point the toes again, and we're going to flutter kick. If your knees are bent, it'll look like little pistons. Flutter kick those legs. If you want to challenge this, you can open up that hip angle. Stretch those legs forward toward the wall in front of you. Flutter kick them back to the ceiling. Keep that going. And up. 2 more sets here, moving through a range that you can control. If your knees are bent, it's gonna look like little tiny kicks this way. Driving the movement with those hips. Last set, bring them down, bring them back to the ceiling. We're gonna pull them in, hug them nice and tight to the body, maybe bring them apart from each other, and we'll rock everything side to side one more time. All right, let's go ahead and take an inhale and an exhale, rolling those shoulders back. We'll reset that chin down toward the neck, reset those arms down by the sides, and with a big breath in, we'll prepare. Exhaling, navel to spine. We're going to come back up to tabletop for one more set of exercises here before we move on. Belly's drawn down, arms come to the ceiling. We're going to flex the feet, pulling those toes towards your kneecaps. From here, we're going to move both legs together if possible. Belly stays down. We're going to draw both heels to the floor and then both knees back to tabletop. We can stay here. We're going to move through a few of these. If you need one step back, we could take a foot down and up. If you need a bit more step back, we start with a foot on the floor. We take one down and lift the other one up, keeping the heel on the floor at all times. If you do want a progression from tabletop, as your feet come forward, those arms could come back, and then we bring them up to the starting position again. Exhale down, inhale up. We've got 2 more here. Exhale away from the center of the body, inhale to the ceiling. Last time, exhale away. Inhale to the ceiling. We'll go ahead and take those feet down to the floor. We're going to line your heels up with your hips, shaking the pelvis out a little bit, maybe rocking your knees side to side a little bit to give the lower half of your body a little bit of a break. We're going to come right back to the middle, and we're going to line our heels up with those sit bones, maybe bringing them a little closer to your bottom. Let's breathe in, draw the belly down on your exhale. Press the heels of the hands into the floor as you're trying to press them all the way through that mat. Lift that bottom up. We're going to take it up as high as we can, either till the butt can't squeeze anymore, until you feel a pulling through the front of your thighs. We'll take a big breath in. We'll exhale, lowering that bottom down. Let's take it up and down at your own speed. What I'd like you to focus on that might be different than some other classes where we do this type of a bridging is we get to the point at the top where we feel that length through the front of the thighs. Focus on maintaining that length as you come down. See if you can, how long you can move through while still feeling that stretch through your thighs. The kneecaps are reaching all the way toward the front of the room. Let's hold those bottoms up at the top of your motion there. Hold it there. We're going to go up and down on our toes. Lift and lower. You can place your hands on the outsides of your hips if you'd like. We're going to monitor and try to make sure that those hips stay up even as your feet drop. So there's a little more of a glute squeeze as your heels come down. Lift and lower. Last 2. Last one. Heels down. We're going to hold it there. If you do need a breather, feel free to come down at any point. But we're going to move on to rotation. So we'll take one hip down toward the floor while the other stays lifted. We'll take that other hip up and switch it. Other side down. And lift, lower, and lift. One more time to each side. We'll lift both hips up to the ceiling. Big breath in, lengthen back down, maintaining that length through the front of the thighs. Down at the bottom, we'll rock through our pelvic clock. We'll go 12 to 6. We'll take it back to the middle and go 3 to 9. Let's take it back to the middle, breathing in. On that exhale, we'll bridge back up, pressing through those heels. We could stick with rotation or move to marching. If we're marching, a knee comes up and down, and then the other one comes up and down. We're going to continue to press through those hands and through that supporting heel as your knee raises. That'll help you keep that pelvis nice and level. We could add a leg extension. We could add a leg extension with a straight leg raise. You pick what's working for you. We could stick with plain old bridge. It still works your bottom. We've got one more to each side. Last one here. We're gonna press those heels down on the mat, big breath in. Exhale, lengthen back down. Hold at the bottom, rock those knees side to side. We have one more set of bridging to finish up with. We could stick with straight bridging. We could move to rotation. We could move through the march that we just did, or we can move to a single leg bridge. If we're doing single leg, the leg closest to your screen is gonna lift up to tabletop. If you want extra support, you can place your heel on your opposite knee. And we're gonna press up through that supporting leg, single leg bridge, lift and lower. Keep it going. Try to keep that shin still enough that you can balance something on it. Looks like I'm failing miserably here, but I'm doing my best. Maybe we straighten that moving leg toward the ceiling. Let's do one more here. We'll lower it down and let's switch sides. That near leg comes down to press into the floor. Far leg comes to 90 degrees, tabletop. Take a big breath and we'll press up and down. The more you can press through your heel versus curling those toes, the less likely you are to cramp in your hamstrings. Find the progression that's working for you. Maybe that leg is straight. Maybe we add a leg lift at the bottom, or at the top of the ridge, rather. Let's go two more. Lift and lower. We're gonna keep that leg that's reaching up toward the ceiling. We're gonna cross it over the other one. We can rotate side to side. Maybe we do a little figure four stretch, pulling that other knee into your chest. Take a couple breaths here regardless. And we'll reverse it. Again, maybe we're in figure four. Maybe that foot stays on the floor. We'll take a couple more breaths here, regardless of the position you've chosen. And then come back to the middle. We'll unwind those legs. Take your feet down to the mat. Maybe we straighten them out all the way. Test it out. See how your back feels. If you feel any compression, feel free to bend them up again. We're going to take those arms to the ceiling. And with that chin drawn gently toward the neck, we're going to raise the blades toward the ceiling, lower the blades toward the floor. Reach those fingertips up, lower your blades down. Let's do a few more here. Getting that motion, feeling a little bit of muscle effort right to the sides of those armpits. We'll lower the blades down, and we're going to take those arms back overhead. Take them as far back as you can without touching the floor. If you feel any strain in the tops of your shoulders, bring them up a little higher. All right. Holding those hands right back at that farthest point, or just hovered up off the floor. We'll keep our hands still, and we're going to raise those blades up and down. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Let's do two more here. We'll lower them down. And we're going to keep our arms still, and we'll draw that chin down towards your neck. We'll drop your breastbone toward the floor. We'll drop those lowest ribs toward the floor. So the middle back is going to be in contact with the mat. That belly and those lowest ribs draw down, activating your abdominals almost all the way from rib cage down to pubic bone. Make sure you can breathe here. If you need to adjust, feel free to bring those arms up. We're going to walk your feet out. We'll lift one leg up and down and then switch it. The goal here is to keep that pelvis still enough that you could balance something on it. Maybe we test that out by lifting our head up a little bit with that chin nodded. Bring the head down. Let's take another big breath in, reaching those arms back. And as we breathe out, we're going to go ahead and make our way over onto our stomachs. So we have a couple options here. We could be face down, resting our forehead on the backs of our hands with bent elbows. Or we could have those arms overhead. They're going to be in a Y shape if they're overhead, with thumbs facing the ceiling. You choose. We're going to rest our foreheads on the floor here. And with those hands out in front or underneath your forehead, we're going to drop your armpits to the floor. Drop them down. Wrap your shoulder blades around the front of the body. You're going to feel a bit of a stretch underneath those arms. Again, if you get here and decide this doesn't feel good, hands go right back under your forehead. We're going to hold that there and draw the belly up and away from the mat. It's fine if your skin still touches. We just want to feel those muscles activating to support your lower back and the rest of your trunk. We'll squeeze the bottom. We're going to flutter kick our legs. Keep them kicking. And we're going to pause them and click our heels together. Click, click, click. Let's flutter them again. Maybe we lift the forehead up as we flutter. And we switch to that click. That belly's still pulled in. Maybe we lift our hands off the floor, whether the elbows are bent or straight. We flutter kick again. If those arms are up in front, maybe we add a little swim. That belly stays pulled in. Good, we're gonna pause the arms and the legs. We're gonna draw those feet down. Take your hands back by your ears and the elbows are by your sides. Your arms and your trunk are almost making a W shape where they are right now. We're gonna squeeze those blades together, pressing the tops of the feet into the floor. Maybe we hold here, maybe we take those arms out on a T. It's up to you. Wherever they are, we're gonna hold here, and we're gonna squeeze your blades and pulse them for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's take a big breath in here. And on that exhale, we'll take the hands right underneath our shoulders. We'll push up to hands and knees. If you have a cushion or a rolled towel, or if you simply want to roll your mat up a little bit to give you a little extra cushion under the knees, now's a good time. Once we're lined up with those wrists and shoulders in line, knees and hips in line, we can do a couple of cats and cows, settling into our new position. We can come back to the middle, rock through a few tail wags, coming back to our normal position. And from here, let's squeeze those blades together and press them forward. Keep that going. Squeeze and press. Squeeze and press. Squeeze and press. If you want to make this more challenging, we can come up into a plank. Again, squeeze and press. Squeeze and press. Squeeze and press. Squeeze and press. Knees come down if they've been up. We can stick with those shoulder blade push-ups, or we can move to single arm. So the hand closest to your screen would come up to your thigh. And again, we squeeze and press, squeeze and press, squeeze and press. If you're feeling super tough and strong today, feel free to do this in a single arm plank. I'm not going there. Squeeze and press, squeeze and press. Not today anyway. All right, we're gonna take that hand closest to your screen back down. We'll take that opposite hand to your thigh. And again, squeeze back, press forward. Squeeze and press. Keep that going. Squeeze and press. Last two. Last one. Let's take that second hand down. We'll shift the weight side to side. We'll take ourselves back to the middle, and let's make some little circles around our base of support. Shifting the weight. Clockwise, forward and sideways and back, and then switch it up a little. Other direction. Good, last one, we'll take ourselves back to the middle. We're gonna thread the needle. Arm farthest from your screen comes out, reach it up, and we'll stretch it through. Let's keep that shoulder relatively level on the moving side and the straight side. We're gonna work through upper back rotation versus getting too much into the back of the shoulder, which is where we get a little more if we brought that shoulder down to the mat. Let's take ourselves back up to hands and knees. We'll switch it up. Arm closest to the screen comes out. We'll thread it through. Inhale up and out. Exhale it through. Let's do 2 more here at your own speed. When you're done with that second one, we'll bring ourselves right back up in hands and knees. And we're gonna rock that bottom back toward the heels and come back up to that hands and knees position again. We'll do a couple more of those. And we'll make our way back up. From here, we're gonna take one arm forward, opposite leg back. Pretend you had something balanced on your back that you don't wanna lose. Keep it nice and still as we move through. Let's do at least a few here. And if you decide you are ready for another challenge, we'll come back up to our plank. And we can lift opposite leg and arm. Again, do your best to keep that back nice and still. Press those shoulder blades toward the floor for a little extra stability. If you're down on hands and knees, that is completely fine. We're going to do 1 more to each side before moving on. We'll take ourselves back to plank, take those knees back down, shift the weight back, Shift those arms forward. Give yourself a little stretch through those shoulder blades. Again, if you need to take pressure off your shoulders, you can bend those elbows a bit. We'll take a big breath in here and breathe it out. We're going to come back up to hands and knees. And I want everyone to at least think about trying this next challenge. We've been working on opposites extending. We're going to work on lifting the same side. So we're going to shift ourselves away from the screen. We'll first take one leg back. If that's what you got, you stay right there. I want everyone to try this. Opposite arm or hand closest to the screen comes forward. We come up on the fingertips first, and then maybe we take that arm and leg up. We'll take them down, and we'll shift that weight toward your screen. Straighten the leg back. Come up to the fingertips. Maybe we lift that arm and leg up. Let's try a few more at your own speed. We're going to do 2 more to each side. Maybe you lift that hand and that foot up 1/4 of an inch. Maybe you just unweight them. All right, last one on each side. Lift, lower them down. Switch it up, last one here. Lower them down. All right, we're gonna take our forearms down to the mat. Give those wrists a break. We can shake them out, roll them in circles a bit. We're gonna make our way back to a position where that head is lower than your bottom. So if that doesn't feel good, if you have blood pressure issues that don't make this feel good, come right back up to hands and knees. Okay, we could rest our head on our fists if we need to. Forward. We're gonna take that leg closest to your screen, move it back to behind you, straight knee, and we'll lift and lower. Keep the pattern going, squeezing through that glute, keeping that upper body nice and still. Hold the leg up there and we'll take it side to side. Good. Keep it moving. Stretch it back, bend that knee to 90 degrees. We'll take the heel down, the knee down, control it back up. Lower and lift. Lower and lift. Keep it going. Pulse it to the ceiling. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take that leg down. We'll stretch that opposite one back behind, and with a straight knee, we'll lift that leg up and down. Sometimes thinking about keeping that belly in will help keep you a little more still. Hold that leg up there. Take it side to side. You move through the speed that's working for you. We'll bend that knee to 90. Control the knee down and up. Nice, smooth motion. Keep it going. And we'll pulse here 8 times. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take that knee down. We're going to bring our knees apart, keeping the feet together. We'll push the bottom back towards your heels and stretch those hands toward the front of your mat. With straight or bent elbows, whatever's working best for you, that forehead comes to the floor. And let's walk our hands toward the screen, bringing one on top of the other. Big breath in. Exhaling, we'll take them the other way. Breathe it in. We'll exhale, bringing those hands forward again. One more big breath here. And then breathing out, we're going to come up into sitting with those legs over the front edge of your mat. All right. So from here, we'll widen those feet till they're at each corner of the front corners of your mat. We're going to be up nice and tall, so bend the knees if you need to. Arms come up in line with your legs. So those fingertips are pointing right between your second and third toes. And we're going to hinge. We'll take those arms forward toward the wall in front of us. Back up to vertical. Hinge. Take it up. Hinge. Take it up. Hinge. Take it up. Hinge forward. Draw that belly in a little further. And let those hands come right down to your legs wherever they rest. Maybe they're here. Maybe they're at your thigh. Maybe they're in front of your feet. Hold them wherever they are. Keeping that belly pulled in. We're going to bring the hands to the leg closest to your screen. Open that arm up to the side. Look over that shoulder if you have a little room. And we'll switch them up, sweeping through. Open it up. Look over that shoulder. Sweep it through. One more time to each side. And sweep. Last one. Take it back to the center. We're going to come up nice and tall. Now we're going to bring those feet together. Okay? We can flex or point the toes, whatever feels best. Knees can be straight or bent. We're going to take the hands behind our head. So the hands will be resting right above the ears. Elbows are going to be slightly in front of the body, slightly wide. We're going to keep that belly drawn in. We're going to rotate through the upper body. We're going to lead with that elbow that's facing your screen. We're going to pull the belly in, exhale, rotate towards your screen. Inhale back to the center. Exhale, rotate away. Inhale, center. Exhale, rotate. If this does not feel great on your neck or your shoulders, you are welcome to cross your arms over your chest. Notice the difference in the bell motion when the hands are back overhead versus at the trunk. Let's rotate one more time to each side. Rotate and center. We'll take those hands down by the sides. We're going to bend the knees and hang on behind those thighs. Coming up onto your toes, drawing the belly back, maybe hovering, so we're resting on that tailbone, just behind that tailbone a bit. We're going to take those arms in front, parallel to the ground if you want a progression. From here, using those arms as goalposts, we're going to take our knees side to side, touch one arm, then touch the other. If your feet are lifted, you'll swing them the opposite direction that the knees are going. If your toes are down, it's going to be more of like a can-can move. Lower half rotating. Try a few more. Get whatever progression's working for you. We'll come back to the center. We always have the option to hold on behind those thighs to get a little bit of assistance. Hands wherever they're comfortable. And we're going to straighten and bend one knee, straighten and bend the other. Maybe progressing to lift those arms up till they're parallel to your thighs. Let's try twice if you want to progress it further. Straighten both knees together and bend. Last time, straighten, bend. We'll come up nice and tall, grabbing onto your shins. Let's do a couple of seated cats and cows, pelvic tilts, whatever you want to call them. We'll stay up nice and tall. We'll take the hands back behind the body, and we're going to straighten the legs out along the floor. So the big goal here is to keep those elbows straight wherever your hands are. Maybe they're close in by your bottom. Maybe they're back a little farther, depending on the mobility that you have through those muscles. We're going to squeeze the blades. We're going to press the heels into the floor. We're going to lift the bottom. Maybe it lifts up half an inch. Maybe we come up into a reverse plank. We'll take it back down. Squeeze the blades, lift. Lower them down. Squeeze and lift. Lower them down. Let's do two more here. You are welcome to progress to a leg lift if that works for you. Toes could be pointed, toes could be flexed. We'll take the feet down, big breath in, exhale, lowering down. Sit up nice and tall, shake your wrists out. We're gonna turn and face the screen. All right, we're gonna roll those wrists in circles. From here, if you'd like to sit on your cushion for a little bit more lift, you're welcome to. We're not gonna be here too long though. We'll take the arms out to the sides. Feet could also be in front. We'll take a big breath in and exhale, take a side bend. Inhale, lift. Exhale the other way. Inhale, lift. Exhale, side bend. Inhale, lift. And we'll side bend one more time. We'll take ourselves up nice and tall, rolling those shoulders back. And let's go ahead and come up onto our knees. Again, this might be the time to put your towel roll up your mat a little bit, or take that cushion and place it under your knees for a little more padding. We're going to take those arms up overhead. And again, we'll take a couple more side bends. Tall side bends. Feel that side you're moving away from, lengthen. One more to the other side. We'll come up nice and tall. Take those arms forward. Lean back into your thighs. Feel those thighs working. You want to try to make your trunk a nice diagonal line with your legs. Hold it back where you just start to feel those thighs working. We're going to open up an arm to the side. Follow with your head. Take it back to the middle. Switch it up. Open and center. One more to each side. Last time, open. We'll center. Come up nice and tall. We'll roll those shoulders back. We're going to flip the palms forward and take those hands back behind the body. We're going to pulse those shoulder blades back for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Big breath in. On that exhale, we're going to take one leg, straighten it out along the floor. You could have it slightly in front of your body. You could have it right in line with your trunk and your other knee. It depends on if you feel like cramping. If you feel like cramping, bring that leg forward. We're going to come up tall and try to sink into that straight leg a little bit. Maybe you feel a little thigh stretch. We'll take our arms to the side. We're going to do some side bends toward the bent knee, toward the straight knee. With this asymmetrical positioning, it's even more important to keep that trunk lifted up and over off the pelvis. Feel free to add a lift if you want to challenge it a bit more. Good. Let's do one more. I know everybody's working really hard. We'll come up nice and tall, hands to the hips, and we're going to hinge, bottom back, crown of the head forward, come up nice and tall. If you're moving through these and you notice that your knee doesn't feel great in this position, feel free to come down to sitting. We can hinge here just as well. We'll go hinge forward one last time, come up nice and tall, and let's switch sides. We'll take that opposite leg out, find a leg position that's working for you in terms of where your foot is, and we'll take those arms out to the side, take a side bend toward that bent leg, and bring it up and over. And we'll side bend, up and over. We could add a leg lift for our last two. Up and over. Last time. Reach. Take it up and over. We'll come up nice and tall. Hands come right to the hips. And we'll hinge. Take the crown of the head forward, tailbone back. You will feel a little more stretch through that inner thigh as we move through the range. And let's hinge. Take it up tall. Two more here. Hinge it forward. And take it up. And I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. Feel free to make little adjustments with your foot if you need to as you move through. Take it up nice and tall. And we're going to come down onto our forearms. We're going to finish up with a combination of some side plank and glute work right here. We're going to bring those knees. We're going to let that ribs come down toward the floor a bit, and then we're going to reverse that. Lift those ribs up. If you feel through the underside of your core here, it's going to be nice and tight. This is a perfectly fine place to start. If you want a progressive, we come up into a half side plank. We can take that arm up to the ceiling. With our feet together, we're going to take that top knee and rotate it up and take it back down. Keep that going. And we can move through that position with the clamshell. It'll just be a smaller range if your hip is resting on the floor. We're going to take that knee back down, hold it there, and we'll take the hand down to the floor and back up. Keep that going. Two more here. One more here. Arm comes up and stays. We're going to straighten that top leg out. We're going to pulse it. If you're down again, it'll be really small motion. Maybe that top arm's down on the floor. We're going to hold that leg where it is. Little circles. Other direction. We're going to bring that knee back in. Lower the side body if it's been up. We'll come back up to sitting. Roll that supporting shoulder out a little bit. It worked pretty hard. And we'll switch to our other side. We'll come down onto a forearm. Upper arms vertical, knees are forward, heels are lined up with the bottom. Again, we let that rib cage drop toward the floor, and then we lift it up, ensuring that that core is active. It'll be working even if you don't do a ton to try to activate it. It's going to activate even if you're just pushing the forearm down and lifting up through your ribs. We're going to hold that there, take that arm to the ceiling. Let's lift up if we can. Regardless, we'll take that top knee up and down. Again, modify your range if that hip's staying on the floor. That knee won't come up quite as high. Let's do a few more here. Knees come down, top arm comes down and up. We're pushing down through that shoulder blade. That shoulder blade is anchoring down toward the floor, toward your hips. Hold that arm up there, hold it there. Straighten out that top leg, pulse it. Hold it there, circle it. Again, if you're down low, modified range, circle the other way. Hold it up there, bend that knee, place the foot back on top of the other one. We'll come down. Let's go ahead and sit back up the way we were before when we did our side bends. We'll roll those shoulders out a bit. And let's tip the ear to one shoulder. Tip the ear to the other shoulder. Take it right back to the middle. We're going to go ahead and come down onto our backs. Give those glutes, hip rotators a little bit of a stretch. Chest up before we stand finish. We're going to cross one leg over the other. Pull the knees in, figure four, or keep that foot on the floor. It's up to you. Maybe rock it out a little bit side to side. Let's go ahead and unwind, switch to the other. Rock them side to side if you feel good there. Take one more breath here, big breath in. Exhale. We're gonna unwind. We'll make our way up to hands and knees again. We're gonna meet in standing, so if you wanna skip the last hands and knees, it's up to you. Depends on how those knees are feeling after the kneeling. We could do a couple cats and cows here. We can wag the tail side to side. Let's come up through plank if you want. We can come up through that inverted V. Elbows and ears line up again, tailbone toward the ceiling. Let's drop our heels down and take a big breath in. Hold it there for an exhale, pulling that belly in. Big breath in again. Exhale, keep that belly in. We're gonna walk those feet toward our hands. We're gonna slowly make our way up to standing. Take it nice and slow. We are changing positions here. If you feel dizzy at all, grab a chair, and we're gonna make our way to a position where we're facing the stream. All right, so we're gonna get those feet hip width apart. Stay right where we are. We're lifting up the toes, spreading them apart, dropping them down one at a time. Pinky, fourth, third, second, and toe comes down. All right, let's shift our weight forward toward the toes. We're gonna unweight those heels just a bit, and we're gonna rise up, maybe an inch higher at a time, coming all the way up onto the balls of the feet. Let's hold it there. Maybe we reach the hands up, and as those fingertips come up, we drop the blades down, keeping the weight forward. We're gonna slowly bring those heels down. And back. We'll take our arms down by our sides, rolling those shoulders back a little. We're gonna soften up the knees, and we're gonna stand heel to toe. Take one foot, place it in front of the other. Hold it there. We can look side to side. And back to the middle. Feel free to try closing your eyes if you have something that you would like to be holding on to. This might be the time for it. Open them up. Let's go ahead and switch feet. Again, find that heel toe position that feels stable to you. Maybe we look side to side. We look back to the middle. Maybe we close our eyes. Maybe we do what my 7-year-old does and close one eye, pretending he's closing both. All right, let's go ahead and open the eyes, shake the feet out a bit. We're gonna shift the weight to one foot, lifting the other one up to single leg balance. We can challenge ourselves in a couple of different ways. We could just shift the weight forward and back. If you're having enough of a challenge just standing in that single leg balance, by all means, stay right where you are. If you wanna take it further, we can go up and down on the toes. We could fall forward. Go ahead and take your bottom back. We could do a little single leg squat here. Trying to keep the knee right in line with the middle of your foot as we go. Let's go ahead and switch legs. Let's shift to that other side. Come up into that single leg balance. Maybe we shift the weight forward and back a little. Maybe we come all the way up onto the toes. It's a heck of a lot easier to rise up and control it down if you make sure your weight's over the front of your foot. We bring that heel down, and maybe we do a few single leg squats. Taking that bottom back. Counts as a squat even if that knee just bends a tiny bit. Play around with it, maybe hold on to something. It will get easier with practice. All right, we're gonna come back to our standing shoulder width apart with those feet. Soften up your knees, shake them out. Everybody did a really great job. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're gonna take a big breath in, take those arms overhead. We'll exhale, bringing our feet together. Let's take one more big breath in. We'll bring those palms together. Take those arms back toward your breastbone. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And again, if you guys have any questions for me, feel free to send me an email, Rachel, R-A-C-H-E-L, @agilept.com. I'm happy to answer any question you have, and I hope you have a wonderful day.